Air travel is truly amazing. Because of it, it's easier than ever before to see the world and all its incredible cultures. But just because you're on a plane doesn't mean there aren't rules, and if you break them, there can be dire consequences. So, from turning off airplane mode to climbing into the overhead compartments, get ready for some things you should absolutely never do on an airplane.
Enjoy watching. Let's go!
Batteries. How would you react if I told you your phone could erupt into flames anytime you take it on a plane with you? At least, if it has a lithium battery, and it probably does. Lithium batteries are inside all sorts of everyday devices, including phones, laptops, and cameras. If you bring any of these on board with you, airlines will highly encourage you, and sometimes require you to keep them in your hand luggage, not in your main luggage. Okay, but why? Well, lithium batteries are extremely sensitive to high temperatures, as well as being incredibly flammable. Not a great combo. They're highly unlikely to randomly combust, but malfunctions do sometimes happen. And because planes have drier air than the outside atmosphere, if anything does catch fire, it'll spread much faster. Now, if a fire takes hold in the cabin, it's bad. Unless you put it out fast, smoke could rapidly fill the enclosed space, whilst the fire itself damages the aircraft and potentially burns the passengers. But at least the crew have a chance to deal with it before it gets out of hand. Back in 2018, a power pack overheated and caught fire in the overhead compartment on one flight to Shanghai. Because it was in someone's hand luggage, staff quickly threw water on it and put it out. If that same fire had happened in the hold though, well, nobody could have reached it, and it would have got a whole lot worse. So, yeah, don't put your phone in your main luggage unless it's safely turned off. The only fire that should be allowed on a flight is my rap mixtape. Word. Flying flu. My grandma always used to tell me, a bit of dirt will do you good, young girl, and maybe she was right, to a degree, but I don't think that saying applies to airplanes. Plane cabins are compact, enclosed spaces, with loads of people crammed into them, and a limited supply of air in circulation, air that everybody is breathing in and out and passing to one another. They do have filter systems to get rid of airborne germs, but they're not 100% efficient. There are air vents above every seat too. However, if you're anything like me, you turn those straight off so it doesn't get too cold. Well, you shouldn't. By leaving the vent open, fresh air is channeled in from outside, increasing airflow, pushing bacteria out of your vicinity, kind of like a little force field. So, if you get cold, trust me, instead of closing the vent, just slip on a sweater. Vents open, force field up. Mr. Sulu. It's German time. Alright, so we know flight attendants have found some truly gross things on board planes, and we also know that germs can run rampant within the enclosed space of the cabin. With that in mind, would you take your socks off and walk around barefoot? I mean, the floors have probably seen vomit, poop, and all sorts of unmentionable goo. You'd have to be crazy, right? Well, apparently some people are that crazy. And even worse, they shove their dirty feet in other people's faces. I can't think of anything grosser than turning round and seeing these toad monstrosities poking through beside me. Like, seriously, doing that isn't just nasty, it's also super unhygienic. But not that barefoot warriors are the only germ spreaders you might encounter. One unfortunate vacationer found themselves sat behind this. Why? Is all I want to know. I'd be tempted to give that hair a hard tug if it didn't look so dirty, though it's probably still cleaner than the in-flight blankets airlines sometimes provide. Apparently, there's rarely enough time to clean all of them between flights, so they're often reused. Yuck! No matter how much hand sanitizer you lather on, if you've got a snotty, drool-covered blanket draped over you, you're still gonna have a butt-ton of germs to deal with. And if staff don't have time to clean the blankets, do you think they had time to clean the windows? Well, I sure don't. So avoid leaning your head on those too. They might not look dirty, but bacteria are microscopic, and while you snooze against the window, they could be multiplying all over your face. Alright, you're probably sick of hearing about gross stuff now, but I've saved the most outrageous for last. This woman was caught drying her underwear with the air vents. Faith in humanity officially lost. Contact chaos. What's drier than eating a cracker in the desert? Clue. The answer's not my incredible sense of humor. It's actually an aircraft cabin. Because there are so many people in a commercial plane, fresh air needs to be pumped in, or all the passengers would run out of oxygen and suffocate. But when you're 30,000 feet high, there's hardly any moisture in the atmosphere, so any air that's brought in is super dry. This isn't just uncomfortable, it could be legitimately dangerous, at least if you wear contact lenses. You see, the dry air dehydrates your eyes, which in most cases just makes them feel uncomfortable. But it can also cause the lenses to tighten around them and rip microscopic tears into your cornea, that is the eye's outer layer. Ouch. So if you need to wear your contacts on board, make sure you bring eye drops to relieve any dryness, and never sleep with them in. You could wake up feeling like someone's plunged hot coals into your eye sockets, though with some of the in-flight movies they choose to show, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad alternative. Standing ovation. I can't stand people who clap when the plane lands. Do they also clap when their food arrives at a restaurant or when the mail turns up? I don't think so. Still, I'd prefer clapping over a load of people jumping out of their seats. The seatbelt light isn't just there to look pretty. When it's on, don't stand up. If you're mid-flight, the pilots probably activated it because they reckon you're about to hit some turbulence. You know, that pant-wettingly scary thing when it feels like the plane's about to crash. It's not. It's just colliding with air currents, but if you're standing up, you could get thrown to the floor. Even when you're not going through turbulence and it feels like you're hardly moving at all, you could actually be racing forward at nearly 600 miles per hour. So if the pilot has to use the brakes for any reason, well, you guessed it, you'll be sent flying. Just don't do it. And please, don't clap when you land either. I will steal your complimentary in-flight peanuts. Plain potato. Plane journeys can be long and deadly boring, so it's tempting to sleep for the whole ride or maybe watch the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, but neither of those are great ideas. If you stay seated for hours on end, without any kind of movement, you could get yourself in big trouble. That's because sitting still for long periods of time can disrupt the blood flow in your body, slowing it down and sometimes blocking it entirely. You've probably had pins and needles before. Well, it's kind of like that, except it can get a lot worse. If you don't move around, blood cells might clump together and cause clots in your legs, leading to painful swelling. This is called deep vein thrombosis and can be excruciating. In the worst cases, you might even get a clot in your lungs, which is really bad news and could be life-threatening, and you only need to be motionless for 4 measly hours to be at risk. So next time you fly, remember to get up and have a little wiggle
Like,
every now and then.
subscribe.
Just not when the seatbelt sign's on, alright?